Welcome to Oluboba. My name is Oluboba Hayodeji, and you're welcome to this episode where we talk about scaling business. How do you scale your business and grow very fast? Once again, you're welcome. Don't forget, in the last episode, we discussed about the top 10 fintech companies in Nigeria. We also discussed in the other episode 10 top fintech companies in UK and US. You can check the video before now just to see which fintechs are the best in each of these regions. Today we'll look at scaling your business. How do you scale your business? And this is different from starting a business. There's a point of starting a business, there's a point of growing a business, and which is most likely linking to the survival mode. And there's a point of scaling a business where sustainability, profitability comes in. So let's check how do you scale a business faster and better, efficiently and effectively. Let's get started. So there are three major points I'll be sharing in scaling a business. But before then, like I said, scaling a business is the ability or is growing a business than its actual growth rate. Let me give you an example. So if you move from point 1 to point 2, from point 2 to point 3, 3 to 4, that is a gradual growth. But when you move from point 1 to point 4, point 4 to point 7, that is scaling. And especially when you do that in a shorter time period or equal time period than as compared to someone who's also taking the gradual step, then that's what we call scaling. Scaling a business. Let's get started and let's see what are these three secrets and what are these three things that I found out. Actually, there are five things I found out to be the best way to scale your business. So the first one is sell to a starving crowd. When you want to start a business, it's very easy for you to start thinking about your product, thinking about office space, thinking about so many things. But one factor that most people don't consider, even though it has been mentioned over and over, where they will say, okay, know your audience. But I'm bringing it more closer. Sell. Don't just know your audience. Sell to a starving crowd. Let me give you an example. If you don't market a bottle of Coke, or you don't sell a bottle of Coke to a patient, a diabetic patient on a sick bed, no, you are selling to the wrong person, and the person is not starved of that product. But take the same bottle of Coke and take it to a building construction site where energy is being used. Trust me, that is the best point to sell that product at that moment, because they need gas to refuel their energy. So sell to a starving crowd. So one of the best things, let me tell you a story. So one of the greatest copywriters of all times was in a class with his students, and he asked them, he said, if I'm to open a restaurant, which is the single most important factor? Many of them mentioned location, the taste of the food, the beauty of the restaurant, and so many things. And he said, all this matters in business. But the most important thing is I need to have a hungry customers. You need to see people who are hungry and thirsty for that which you are selling for you to be able to do it well. So that makes it what it is. Sell to a starving crowd. Your marketing, will not matter if the people you are selling to, if you're not targeting the right persons. Same also occurs to adverts, marketing, and all of that. Target the right people. Let's go to the second one. Be the first. There's something called the principle of first. People attach leadership to first. When you're the first to do a thing in your industry, and you are known for that thing, there's a honor given to you in respect to that. So some of the brands that took over, that broke over, were actually the first, or they may not be the first, but they are the first to be known publicly to do that thing. So they took over the market space in a very short time. So one of the ways to scale your business is whatever industry you are, ask yourself what has not been done. Do it and make it known to the entire world, or to your region, to your audience, or to the industry, that you are the one who did this, and you are the pioneer. That is the word. So those who are pioneer of anything enjoy the larger share of the glory. Even if others comes in and refine, trust me, it can still be like the pioneer. There's an honor given to pioneer. pioneers of those that started associations, that started a company. Why do you think companies, CEOs, founders are well celebrated? Even if at a point, even if they fail, even if at the point CEO, they hand over to CEO, but being the pioneer of that thing, that honor, that glory, is an unfair advantage in the marketplace, also to businesses who want to scale. When you want to scale your businesses, when you want to grow faster than the actual rate, one of the things you must look, what can I do new? Now, listen, actually there's nothing new, but you can do something new to old people or to the set of people who have not seen that thing before. To them, it becomes new. So maybe where you are right now is already a crowded marketplace. You can take your services and goods or products to a different set of persons who has not experienced what is crowded in another space. So when you bring it to them new, trust me, they see you as a pioneer. How do you think gods are created? Gods are simply, in the olden days, gods are simply humans who did something extraordinary, and then people began to worship them. The likes of Zeus and the rest. Even Jesus was the first to die and resurrect. That's pioneer, okay? So it is very important, and that's why we have things like trademark, patents. Once you're a pioneer of a thing, of an idea of something, what do? You patent it. These are ways you scale in business. It makes you stand out. Be the first. This is one of the advantages First Bank is enjoying today. Yes, First Bank. This is one of the advantages they are enjoying today. That they are the first. First Bank has been able to position itself as the best. But those are two different things. You can still be the first and not be the best. Okay? But it's easier to be the first and become the best than to not be the first and trying to convince people why you are the best or why yours is better than the existing one. There's always a new ground to cover, either in terms of location, either in terms of product features, either in terms of market value. There's always something new to add to your business that you can be a pioneer of. Look into your business. What is that thing that I can do differently? That we can be the first person to start doing this, and let the entire world know that you are the one who started. They will attach that to you. Whatever that is required, you will be given that glory. Hallelujah. Okay, so the next one is position as the best. Mind my use of words. Position as the best, because actually, the best is figurative. Yes, that's the truth. What is best to one may not be the best to another. So, but you must position. It's all about positioning. It's all about, marketing is beyond a thing of who has the best products. Marketing is nothing but a perception. People need to perceive you to be the first for you to actually prove yourself to be the first. It's just like a pitch room. If you don't have access into the room, there's no way you can even pitch that you are the best or this is the idea you have. First of all, you need to find a way to get into the room. Then before you can start explaining yourself. That is very cool. Same thing with scaling a business. You must position as the best. Now, if you're able to be the first in your niche, in your location, in your geography, whatever it is that you're able to be the first in your product feature, whatever it is, your service relations, whatever it is you're able to be the first in, good and fine. Escalate it. Put in more effort to ensure that you're also the best, that you position yourself as the best. We're not just pioneer, but we're the best. We're the one who does these things better. And trust me, it does not have to be everything. It might just be one thing out of many that you hold on to as your own stronghold. That becomes your own stronghold. That becomes your own unfair advantage. So hold on to it, okay? Position yourself as the best. We're speaking about First Bank. Take a look at First Bank. First Bank happens to be the first bank, okay, as stated in their name, but trust me, they also try to position themselves as the best. So people, they took over that advantage in the early stage, okay? Even though the narrative is changing little by little, but trust, there's still this high level of trust people have in First Bank. First Bank were able to sell the narrative of trust to the people. So that your money is safe, no matter what, that we cannot collapse. So people have seen banks collapse, but nothing have been heard about First Bank. So there's this joy, there's this trust, there's this calmness that people have when their money is with First Bank. I can trust, even when you bring two traditional banks together, two major big banks together, people will still believe more in First Bank than they will believe in those. But this same First Bank, their services may not be the best. They are fintech companies, like we mentioned in our previous episode. They are previous company whose bank or whose platform are far better than First Bank, but still people still has it. When people want to do the business of business, the business are really important. Trust me, where would they walk into is First Bank. that trust has been built. So they've been able to position themselves as the best. If you're able to get the first or be the first in whatever it is, good. But transition from also being the first, which you have attained, nobody can take that from you, that you are the first to do this. That cannot be taken away, okay? Others can only follow. Now, stay away from being the first and what? Move towards to being the best. That is what you need right now. Now, but in case you are not able to be the first, then though it may be more work, but it's still possible. Now, try to position yourself to be the best. You position yourself, giving that people the perception, the people accepting you to be the best, can turn around the story for you in place of what? Being the first. Let me give you an example. OP is not the first fintech, but trust me, OP has learned to position itself as the best. So now people are beginning to forget who is even the first fintech company in the country. Who is the first? Alert came before OP. As far as the Nigerian market is concerned, Alert was there before OP. But how many persons will you compare in terms of Alert banking and OP banking? That tells you the blessedness of positioning yourself as the best. If you can't meet up as the first, please don't lose yourself as the best. Be specific with your offer. Yes. We talk about scaling, and the Bible says, lay aside every weight. Exactly. Be specific with your offer. When you need to scale, not all products will scale at the same time. Just one thing that stands out, okay? Or that thing that makes you the first, or that thing that positions you as the best. That is what you need to scale. Not every. I see business owners trying to scale everything. No, you don't need to scale. You don't need to scale multiple things at a time. So let's say you're into a property management business. There's a probability you're also into cleaning. There's a probability you're also into so many other things that are related to the business or even outside the business. But trust me, when it's time for you to scale, put your strong feet forward. Now, the glory of one will rub on the other. There's a term used in marketing, in accounting, I think they call it credit dilute or something, where you use the influence of one, or the strength of the share of one to rub on others. Okay, so when you be specific with your offer, what this is saying is go with one thing. One thing is needful. We know you have many things, but if you're going to scale in marketing, because you need marketing to scale. Marketing is promotion, so you need marketing to scale. Marketing is perception. Marketing is branding. You need it to scale. So if you're going to scale, you need to be specific as well. People need to know exactly what you are telling them. The problem is that problem, not what they think, but the exact problem that you are solving. So if you're able to do that, you will scale faster by through word of mouth, by advertisements, whatever channel it is you may be using to do your promotion. But trust me, you will scale, and even your budget will be lean as compared to when you want to go with all at the same time. You don't even need to sell. You don't have to scale with the entirety of your brand. Just promote. There's something you may be doing. Let me give you an example. So there was this time that Apple released, was it iPhone 15 Pro Max? Yes, Apple 15 Pro Max came out then. And then all what Samsung needed to do, of course, these are two big competitors in the market. All what Samsung needed to do was just, they posted on their X page, which is Twitter page, and they said, can it fold? We all know that Samsung does fold, okay, fold phones. And they said, can it fold? And that was very huge marketing to Samsung. So Samsung was not competing on camera. As at then, they were not competing on that. All they just asked was, so the narrative they sold out there was, our phone can fold. Trust me, it was a very big market. So they became a leader in that space. When iPhone 16 Pro Max was to come out, what did Samsung do again? When iPhone 16 S24, S25, yes, was to come out. The very feature that Samsung sold out in their marketing was their zoom, 200% zooming. People started using it. It was all over in terms of content. So they were not trying to sell the entire Samsung brand. What they just did was to hold on to one thing, the zooming nature. It could zoom as far as, in fact, people say they could use it to see the years ahead. Of course, that is a joke, but it is part of the marketing. Be specific in what you want to sell. The entire thing of a product does not really have to sell. But one thing that product can do can be the only reason why you will scale. When you do that, it's easier for you to scale. So what can your product do? What is that one thing that stands you different? What can you be specific about for people to accept you in? Think and apply leverage. What is that business that is not using leverage? Leverage is very key in terms of business. There's very little to which you can do as compared to leverage. So rather than you trying to do, you should get to a point. If you're going to scale business, you have to get to a point where even your absence does not affect the productivity of the business. That your business can run actively without your presence. That your business can do exceedingly well without your presence. That is why we are calling it business or entrepreneurship. So leverage, think of leverage. Leverage can be in terms of partnership. Leverage can be in terms of, you must not do everything. It's serious, and you should not do everything. Take on leverage. Leverage can be in terms of partnership, it can be in terms of MOUs, whatever it is that is going to bring you harder, that's going to scale. There are people who already have this audience. Someone said, why build a new ship when you can buy an existing one? That's place of leverage. So there are people who already have this audience, right? Why trying to build audience when you can take advantage of their community? These are way of also scaling your business. It is very important. It might cost you more, but trust me, if you check the time, you don't have that years that they have used in building that community. You don't have it. Even if you have the budget, you don't have the year, you don't have the time. You can't do it better, at least for the first few years, than they would have done it. That's why you see companies, rather than starting anything, what they do, they buy off smaller companies. They buy off their community. They buy off their strength. They buy off their loyalists. They buy off their APIs. Why? It's not as though they can't create the same thing, but why do that? Look at Elon Musk. Why does Elon Musk have to well, Elon Musk could have gathered some engineers and they built another Twitter or another form of Twitter. But why do that? What they did, they bought Twitter. That is leverage. And trust me, by reason of buying Twitter, Twitter give that leverage. SpaceX and Tesla benefited from the leverage of Twitter. Even President Donald Trump in the last election benefited from Twitter. Why? Because it is in control of the person that will control of his friend. So think and apply leverage. You don't have to do everything on your own. If you are to scale, you actually cannot do everything on your own. You have to apply leverage. Thank you so much, and I hope that you've learned one or two. If you have questions, please drop in the comment section on our YouTube page. I will do as much as I can to respond to that. God bless you. God bless you. It's just so glad to have you here. See you next time. And if there's anything you want me to discuss about, I appreciate you can also leave that in the comment section. I will make a video on that. God bless you. Please share, like, and subscribe. God bless you. Have a nice time. Bye.